Well, welcome along to another episode of The Sweet Spot, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with SBK. I'm Dave Clark. He is Eric Cantona, joining us here, golf tipster Steve Palmer. Steve, how are you?
Hi, Dave. Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. It's lovely for you to ask. I'm very well, thank you. You're a bit rough and rugged this week, Steve.
Yeah. Very messy hair, I noticed this morning. So I've put a cap on just to avoid releasing the messy hair to the public. So I'm getting my hair cut on Thursday. So I'll be better for next week. But I'm all right, thanks, Dave. Yeah, obviously not the most enjoyable set of golf
No.
tournaments we've ever had. I thought Stuart Sink was going to be the saviour on Sunday night. He was only one shot behind going up the 16th hole, par 5. But he made a 6 at that 16th hole, and that was that.
Indeed. Big shout out to all the YouTube commentors who got involved last week. One or two shrewdies along there. One or two who followed the very shrewd horsey tipsters here on the Racing Post as well. Remember, we've got you covered, all your content all week long. And there was a few winners found at Royal Ascot by the team. So all good stuff. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe to the Racing Post YouTube channel. Right, we are
Seagull did
here.
very well, didn't he? Yeah, the Seagull was in good form. The Seagull was in better form than the Duck last week. We'll discuss the Duck in a minute. Sorry.
Very good. Right, we're here, of course, with our friends at betsbk.com. That is where you want to go to. Bet 10 and get £40 in free bets. That is a new customer offer on their website. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus, gamble aware. Make sure you jump onto their website. Take advantage of that. Right, we've got a lot to get through, Steve, both looking back and looking forward. Let's look back first. You've already mentioned Stuart Sink. Let's talk about the golden oldies then, the seniors. And it was quite a thrilling finish, this one. I worked out 28 feet of putts landed in the last two holes by the winner here, forcing the playoff. And the Spaniard back doing the business.
Yes, indeed. Miguel Angel Jimenez. Birdies at 17 and 18, and then birdied the first playoff hole. So, finished with an extremely moist sail. Beat Steve Alker in the playoff. That's his third senior major victory, Dave. He's evergreen, this lad. 61 years of age now.
Yep.
Just picked up his third major title. He's an inspirational character, Dave. This is a fella that loves drinking his wine. He likes his cigars. He likes having fun, but still able to retain a lot of golfing ability. So, it's always pleasant when Miguel Angel Jimenez wins. Obviously, we would rather have been on him than Stuart Sink. Stuart Sink finished third on his own. Didn't play that 16th hole well all week, Dave. 1 over par for the week on the par 5 16th hole. Another near miss in a senior major for Sinky.
Yeah, and Jimenez, I just love just everything about him. If I get to 61 and can live life like him, I don't think it's quite going to be that case because he's obviously been on the tour for most of it. But, I saw some great shots of him getting onto the private jet, lighting the la-di-das. Even, if it's possible to be cool and suave warming up to play golf, he's got that down to a T as well.
Absolutely. It's a great advert for stretching, isn't it? He's always been a magnificent stretcher. I think I might try and get into stretching because, I wake up with all sorts of aches and pains. Maybe I can be like Miguel Angel Jimenez and just do a really furious stretching regime in the mornings, and it might work out. I might test it out. I'll let you know how I get on.
Well, anything else to add on the golden oldies, Steve?
Well, just that Angel Cabrera's temper got the better of him. We know he can lose his rag a little bit at times, and it just at the start of the back nine in round 3. Started the back nine in round 3, bogey par, bogey. He was just on the fringes of thing, and then the Grand Slam dream died. So no Grand Slam for Angel Cabrera this year.
Right, let's move on then to the women's major that was going on last week as well. We had a 3-shot winner here and a third major title for the Aussie Min Ji Lee. Talk us through it, Steve.
Yeah, it's really tough conditions, and the Aussie handled it better than anyone else. Really windy, and she seemed to relish it. As you say, 3 major titles and all different ones. So talk about the Cabrera calendar Grand Slam's gone. The Min Ji Lee career Grand Slam is very much on. She only needs to win the Chevron Championship and the Women's Open. Obviously, there's 5, so it's a tougher task than Rory McIlroy had. 4 majors in the men's, 5 in the ladies. So Min Ji Lee We'll go to the Women's Open with the scent of a career Grand Slam in her nostrils. She's only 29. So exciting time. Min Woo Lee's sister, of course. Probably doesn't like being referred to as Min Woo Lee's sister, but she is Min Woo Lee's sister, and certainly won 3 more majors than her brother.
And the jolly Titico, I saw was up there early doors, but just faded away late.
Yeah, just an obscene putting performance out the gates. Didn't miss anything early in the tournament, and then faded away. And Minjee Lee handled the conditions better than anyone. And Ruin Ying, slow out the gates, Dave, 76. Battle back into the tournament in the middle rounds. But she was still in it after round 3, but then a 76 on Sunday as well. So Ruin Yin finished 23rd.
Right, let's move on to the Travellers then, and what I can only describe as heartbreak for our very own Tommy Fleetwood here. The winner, who what have I got here? I've got here the winner. I'm going to pay homage to the winner, Steve, just by getting my putter and just spinning it continuously for you. Why you just tell us who won the tournament?
Yeah, it's a very strange pre-shot routine, isn't it? Yeah, Keegan Bradley won the tournament, his second Travellers Championship victory. He won by 3 shots in 2023. So he's won 2 of the last 3 Travellers. He had a record-breaking total in 2023, 23 under par. Only needed 15 under par to get the job this time. But just putted so well. I'm glad you got the putter out, Dave, because his putter was a magic wand.
Clutch.
And just some monstrous putts on Sunday. Much to the chagrin of Tommy Fleetwood and his fans. It was, as you say, it was just really sad, wasn't it? What happened? It was just I know it's only golf. It's only golf. We must remember it's only golf. This is a millionaire, multi-millionaire golfer. He won $1.76 million instead of $3.6 million. But we all love Tommy Fleetwood, don't we? He was, and we all want him to win on the PGA Tour. He's by far the best PGA Tour maiden. Cameron Young is the only one you could sort of enter the conversation, but Tommy Fleetwood is the best PGA Tour maiden by far. That was a gilt-edged chance on Sunday. And I thought once he parred the 17th, Dave, didn't you think the job done? A brilliant second shot at the 17th from the fairway bunker. And then a brilliant second putt at the 17th. He gave himself plenty of work to do on the par putt on 17. Really gutsy to hold that par putt on 17. And then he found the fairway.
I thought he'd been the captain then. I thought he'd steadied the ship.
Oh, I just thought it was a great par at 17. Then he found the fairway at 18 and just think, one hand on the trophy. And basically he's gone from having one hand on the trophy to, completely buggered in the space of 5 minutes, isn't he?
But what about Bradley's approach shot as well? Be right, baby. And it was incredible shot.
Absolutely. I mean, from the Fleetwood found the fairway at 18, and then from there the pressure just increased. And obviously Bradley applied pressure, tongue twister. Russell Henley's chip in applied extra pressure because then even Fleetwood knows if he misses the par putt, the best case scenario if he misses the par putt is a 3-way playoff. So. Yeah, it was horrible for the way the pressure increased on Tommy Fleetwood, and he hadn't putted well all day, had he? And when he left he left himself in 3-putt country, didn't he? By taking the pitch and wedge rather than the 9-iron. You see him umming and ahhing over the club selection on the 18th fairway. So it was 9-iron on pitch and wedge.
That is, if you've not. This is what we talk about players that have won it and just want to run to the winning line, and the good ones do that. And he just can't get it done.
Yeah, he was massively between clubs there. The wind was swirling. He's obviously factored in a bit of adrenaline. So they've gone with the pitch and wedge over the 9-iron, left it in 3-putt country. And he hadn't putted well all day. And then, he left the par putt in a horrible spot because then he gave Keegan Bradley a read for his birdie putt. It was really depressing how it all just unfolded. Really unpleasant viewing.
So what was it for you, Steve? Was it a Tommy Fleetwood threw it away? Was it a Keegan Bradley won it, or was it a bit of both?
It was a bit of both. I mean, if Bradley doesn't hold these monstrous putts, I mean, he was holding JJ Spawn US Open style putts on Sunday, and that really applied pressure. I think perhaps the most significant moment was the thunder early in the day because they were originally supposed to be going out in 2 balls, Dave. And Tommy Fleetwood was going to be with Russell Henley in a 2-ball. And then because it was a thunder delay, they switched to 3 balls. And then Keegan Bradley enters Tommy Fleetwood's group.
And then we've got kind of Ryder Cup vibes on the back nine.
Oh, absolute disaster because, Keegan Bradley's the local hero. He's from New England. He's from this area. So he's the crowd favourite. As you say, American Ryder Cup captain. So you've got all the USA chants in your ear as well. He's a really slow player, which can annoy you at the best times anyway.
Yeah.
So Fleetwood must have been devastated when he sees Bradley is in his group. I honestly think if they'd gone out in two balls, I think Fleetwood would have won. I think a two ball with Russell Henley would have been much more relaxing, chasing your first win. But then when Keegan Bradley's in your face, he's such an annoying person to have in your face. And
Listen, I've backed him a few times this season, but I can't watch him golf. Like, obviously, I watched the end, but it just annoys me. Just get on with it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously when he did win, there was no sort of sympathy for Tommy Fleetwood, was he? Just rushing off a few.
But that is how if you're gonna win well, you got to lose well, and he took it well, didn't he? Fleetwood. He's done all the press. He's done everything.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Fleetwood is a top man, isn't he? As I say, it was just really sad, but we must remember it is only golf. People are dying in pain all over the world, Dave.
What about those Ryder Cup connotations then? They're talking about Keegan Bradley as a playing captain. Is that going to happen? Are we going to see that?
Well, I think he has to qualify for the team. I don't think he'll pick himself as a wild card. He's obviously got every chance of qualifying automatically now, and I think if he does qualify automatically, he'll definitely be a player. And then he's got to decide whether he wants to take both roles on as well. He keeps mentioning Jim Furyk. It seems like Jim Furyk is the man for the job if Keegan decides he can't do both roles. Interesting media conference afterwards when he said that the USA bigwigs said that when they recruited him, they said, we want you to be the first player captain since Arnold Palmer. My Uncle Arnold.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that. Yeah,
Uncle Arnold, many moons ago, did both roles. The Ryder Cup, not as big as it is now back then. Tiger Woods was player captain in the 2019 President's Cup, you might remember, at Royal Melbourne. So Tiger Woods has done it recently, but again, President's Cup is not the Ryder Cup. It's a big ask, but I found it fascinating that he mentioned that they suggested that he could do that. I don't know whether it was the US, the bigwigs just being nice and sort of because
I didn't even believe it when it came out of his mouth, to be honest.
Yeah, because the bigwigs probably didn't expect him to be a player. No. He's got some big decisions to make, but as I say, I think he has to qualify automatically to consider doing both roles. I don't see him giving himself a wildcard pick. It's just not worth it. Because you don't have to play every session, do you, Dave? So that's why I think it's possible. I think I'm very much in the minority of people thinking that it is possible to do both roles. But, you could play 1 or 2 sessions before the singles, give yourself a bit of time. But, we shall see. Because you remember, between the sessions, they have to put in their order, don't they? So if he's playing the morning session and then he's having to plan the order while he's out, it really doesn't work well, does it? He's created a bit of a headache for him.
Well, surely if you're out on the course, you can't see vibes around other players. You're then going to start relying on your vice captains, etc. So I wouldn't be for me. If we're talking like Scotty Scheffler and he's the greatest player in the world, then but we're talking about Keegan Bradley, and I think the team would be all right without him if you just want to be a captain.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree the team will be all right without him. I'm just glad they've got a bit of a headache because the home team always wins the Ryder Cup, so I'm glad that the home team have got a bit of a headache here. Hopefully that headache continues.
Right, on the Travellers, Rory turned up a little bit late in the day. He was a bit late on parade, but he got to 12 under in the end, so in theory only 3 off the lead. It was a better showing from him.
Yeah, he seemed a bit happier last week. I think he's enjoying having a break now before the Open. Positive vibes from Rory last week. He tied with Scotty Scheffler, who just always seems to find a way to get in the top 10, no matter how he's playing. So the cream rose to the top. Patrick Cantlay, of course. We were on Patrick Cantlay, tied 12th. I was on 16 to 1, 12 places, so I was grateful for small mercies there. So frustrating following Patrick Cantlay. I hope some punters, I hope you took the 11 to 10 about the top 20 finish, Dave. I mean, I wish I just had one bet last week. The Patrick Cantlay top 20 finish. If you just had one bet last week, that was the bet of the week. You would have had a delightful week, because that's 8 consecutive top 20 finishes for Cantlay and the Travellers now. But the winless streak continues, and as I say, very frustrating. He's playing again this week, very prominent.
I was just about to say, he's one of the market leaders as well.
Yeah. We'll come to that. We've got loads of golf coming up this week. Dave.
Let's get stuck in then to it, shall we? Right, we're going to start. I know you like to go chronological order. We're going to start with the Italian Open, which I've got down here as a bit of a nomadic event. My man on the tour, a friend of mine, Dale Whitnell, tells me not a lot. He tells me it's shortish and hilly where we're off to here. Steve, what do you know about this track?
It is shortish and hilly, yeah. PGA National Italy, Argentario Golf Club, Monte Argentario, Grosseto, Italy. 6,857 yards, par 71, 4 par 5s, hosting the Italian Open for the first time. But we've seen it on the Challenge Tour, Dave. Last year's Italian Challenge Open, played in September, 18 under par won that. It's a short course, very contrasting nines though, quite open on the front, very tight on the back. Sunny and hot weather for your mate Dale to enjoy. Light to moderate breezes, a field of 156 going to post.
Give us an attribute then. We haven't got a lot of course form to go on. What are you thinking?
Accuracy is the key to success. This is a fiddly little track, particularly down the stretch. You've got these dense sets of cork trees that will severely punish the errant. So yeah, accuracy is the key attribute.
Right, let's have a look at the market then. We are looking at Jordan Smith, Ewan Ferguson, Francesco Laporta, Jaden Shapo, who's been well backed as well already this week as the market leaders. How many in the team for the Italian?
Got 5, Dave.
5. Bold. 5. Okay, right, who is the main tip?
John Parry, who won that Challenge Tour event I mentioned at this course last year. It was the icing on the cake of a magnificent campaign on the Challenge Tour. He won 3 times on that circuit last year. Then he won the Mauritius Open on the DP World Tour just before Christmas. This is a man who's peaked in his late 30s. Tees up this week as a 38-year-old who's seen it all before. 2-time DP World Tour champion. Ideal game for this week's venue, as he emphatically proved in September. He nearly won the Kenya Open at the end of February. Another short, tight track. 4th in the Soudal Open at the end of May. Another short, tight track. Similar assignment this week. Premium on accuracy. Bit of breeze in the forecast, which helps as well. Yeah, John Parry, just a no-brainer. You make him the captain of your team this week.
John Parry is the main bet for the Italian Open. Who's the next best?
Martin Kuvra. Yes, Martin. A rising star, a hero for us in the Turkish Airlines Open last month. A 22-year-old, lovely swing, beautiful putting stroke. He won on the Challenge Tour in 2023 when he was still an amateur. From an early age, we've known this lad's got bundles of talent, and he'll have the scent of a PGA Tour card in his nostrils now, Dave. He's 9th in the Race to Dubai standings. The top 10 get PGA Tour cards for next season. He's going to bank loads of Race to Dubai points and from now until the end of the season. He was 8th in the Austrian Open last time out. I don't know whether you were following him in the Austrian Open. He made 14 birdies over the weekend of that event. Check out his scorecard. It's crazy. He was up and down, but brilliant over the weekend, essentially. This is a birdie machine. He's tackling PGA National for the 2nd time. Like Parry, got positive course experience in the book. Kuvra finished 12th in last year's Challenge Tour event there. So these two are going to hit the ground running while others are adjusting to new terrain.
Okay, right. Listen, we have a strong following here on the Sweet Spot on the Racing Post YouTube channel, but I do feel like you need to give another reference to the Yes Martin claim there, because some people will just feel like you've lost the plot, Steve.
Yeah. Probably confused our American audience in particular.
A little bit, yeah.
A growing American audience. Yeah, the former England soccer manager, Graham Taylor. There was a documentary following him during a World Cup qualifying campaign, and he's a real character. He's died, unfortunately, now, but he was one of the greatest characters the sporting world has ever seen. And one of his... he had many catchphrases, and one of them is Yes Martin, from when he was teasing Martin Keown about his lack of penalty-taking ability. Yeah, very complicated task you set me there, Dave, but Google it, Google it. As I always say to my daughter when she asks me a difficult question, Google it, Google it.
Okay, well, that'll be the last time I ask you to do that anyway. But just for one final
Thank you.
reference, because I'm sure, this. Thankfully, Martin Keimer's not quite the force of late. Otherwise, we'd be getting it every other week, I think, from yourself. Right,
True.
they are the first two in the team. We've got three more to go. Who else?
Oliver Lindell, who also has positive course experience. Lindell carded a course record 62 at PGA National Italy in September, finished 6th in the tournament. He's arrived this year in really encouraging form. He was 12th behind Kuvra in Turkey last month, then 25th in the Soudal, 13th in the Austrian Open. Had a really bad Saturday in the KLM Open last time out, but bounced back on the Sunday with a 68. Only 5 players outscored him in the final round of the KLM. He's won 3 times on the Nordic Golf League. He's a 26-year-old who's really established himself now on the DP World Tour. I think he's ready to win.
Short and sweet. Two more to come then. Have we got some big prices in here, Steve?
Yes, sir. Number 4, Jack Senior, who also has positive course experience. He finished 4th in that Challenge Tour event there last September, closed with a 66. Nobody bettered that score in the final round. This is an accurate operator, well suited to the track. Morecambe lad, bit of breeze in the forecast will just encourage him further. He's had 2 Challenge Tour wins. They came in Scotland and Northern Ireland. Senior is a man to trust in the wind. And when he played on the Alps Tour way back in 2012, early in his career, he won an event in Italy, Dave. He won at Golf Club Lignano. 3-figure prices about Jack Senior. Very exciting.
And for you, a massive positive that he's from Morecambe, being such a renowned windy site.
Yes. Lots of good links courses around there. Yeah, now Jack Senior thrives in the wind, and there's a bit of breeze in the forecast this week.
Right, one more then, and I'm hoping it's going to be a monster price. Who you got for us?
Rafael Cabrera Bello, who we chanced at massive prices in his last event, the KLM Open. You probably remember that. He finished 13th. He was 22nd in the Austrian Open in his event prior. This is a former world number 16 we're talking about here, former member of Team Europe, appears to be getting his act together again. I was really surprised that the same thing happened this week. Enormous prices chalked up again. There was some early money for him. I'm hoping it was sweet spot loyalists who had spotted the opportunity here. The early 300 to 1 has gone, but still so much juice in the price. 4-time DP World Tour champion, a 41-year-old, appears to be knuckling down again. At his best on short tracks like this one. Breeze in the forecast is a positive. He was 4th in the 2018 Italian Open, so I can see Cabrera Bello getting into the mix again. Obviously the each way returns are there for you at the prices he's available at. It's very, very tough to get the shortlist down this week, Dave. You mentioned Jaden Shaper. It'll break my heart if Jaden Shaper wins. Francesco Laporta.
I thought that might have been your money moving him early doors, Steve.
Yeah, it's been a tough week to get the shortlist down. When it gets to that stage, if you're umming and ahhing over Rafa Cabrera Bello or Jaden Shaper, you have to go with the enormous price. Jaden Shaper is a maiden who's relatively short in the betting. Francesco Laporta is an Italian who's been playing well. Again, though, short price. Jorge Campillo is difficult to get off the staking plan. Sean Norris won in Japan last time out. He's hard to discount at value prices.
You can't tip them all, mate. You can't tip them all.
You can't tip them all. And I'm happy with my 5. I spend ages whittling them down, and I trust in the process.
God, I feel old. I'd have been a massive buyer. Cabrera Bello, 41. He's only 3 years older than me.
No, that's it. He's still got plenty to offer.
Indeed. Right, that is the 5. You mentioned 1 or 2 that almost made the list. Should we move on then?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we've got loads to get through. Number 2 then, tournament this week is the Rocket Mortgage Classic here. Right, I don't want to be accused of plagiarism. I obviously don't know who you've tipped. I've backed 2 players already for this, Steve, so I'm just going to reveal who they are, and then we'll get your team. And then if they're not among your team, I'd like your thoughts on them. I think this is going to be a putting competition. I've gone with Akshay Bhatia and Nico Echeverria. So we'll just leave it there. We'll park it there. Okay. Right, we are off to Detroit here. What can you tell us about the track?
Yeah, it's actually just known as the Rocket Classic now. They've ditched the mortgage from the title. for reasons
There
unknown.
used to
Probably
be
not.
the quick loans as well. There used to be all
Yeah.
sorts.
There used to be the Quicken Loans. Yeah. And then it was the Rocket Mortgage Classic. I guess having the word mortgage in the title doesn't attract people to it. Most people mortgages are horrible things. They're pressure packed
Shudder at the
things.
thought of it. Yeah, that's right.
You're not dazzled with dreamy thoughts when you see the word mortgage. So they call it the Rocket Classic now. Detroit Golf Club, Detroit, Minnesota, 7,370 yards, par 72, 4 par 5s, a Donald Ross design. It's hosted since 2019, tree line fairways, small greens, but an absolute doddle for the PGA Tour professionals. The average winning score here is better than 22 under par. Got some thunder potential for the first 2 days. Could be a bit stop-start. Some breeze on Friday afternoon is scheduled. Could be a slight draw bias if it works out like that. But sunny and calm over the weekend. Another field of 156 going to post.
Okay, yeah, I did see that Tony Finau, 26 under tournament record. This is not what I like, Steve. Just birdie fests and low scoring. I like it to be a challenge. Right, what sort of attribute are we looking for? Just scoring.
Well, you mentioned Tony Finau. If you look at the honours board, there's plenty of big hitters on there. Bryson DeChambeau has won this. So plenty of long drivers have won this. But I think you're right. I think putting is the most important here. The putting stats of all the winners here have been very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't think you can win it unless you're holding your fair share.
Right, how many in the team?
2.
Just the 2?
Just 2, yeah. We got
not my 2,
5.
are they?
No, fortunately not. No, we got a 5-2-2-2 formation this week. 4 tournaments, 5-2-2-2.
Okay, right. Who is the main pick then for the Rocket Classic?
Ricky Fowler. Ricky is back in business. He's had a crazy career over the last few years. Battled back to his best. Then he lost his form again. Recent signs, hugely encouraging. The Rocket, one of his favourite tournaments on the PGA Tour. He's a Rocket Mortgage ambassador, is Ricky Fowler. He loves the sponsors. He loves the course. And it was a joy for Fowler and his fans when he won this event in 2023. You might remember that one. He'd been knocking at the door for ages and then finally won a tournament again. I think he's going to get the job done this week. I really like what I saw in the Truist Championship last month, Dave. He opened with a 63 there. It was vintage Fowler in round 1. Went on to finish 15th in the Truist. He was 16th at Colonial. Again, flashes of that magnificent A game. A Friday 64 at Colonial. 7th in the Memorial. And then last weekend, we saw him light up TPC River Highlands. Fowler got tailed off early in the Travelers. Ice cold putter. But rounds of 64 and 67 at the weekend. That's the same weekend score as Keegan Bradley. Fowler outscored Tommy Fleetwood over the weekend by 4 shots. So it shows the measure of Fowler's weekend of the Travelers. His short game was in great condition on Sunday. I think he's got the tools to contend this week. He'd be going for a 7th PGA Tour title. He seems focused again, Dave. He had his second child in August last year. And he's a nice chap, is Rick. He threw himself into the dad duties. He's got 2 young daughters now, but his form has suffered. But he seems to be getting back on track now. So Ricky Fowler, juicy price.
Yeah, even as a 6-time winner on the tour, I've got him earmarked as a bit of an underachiever. And I think arguably his greatest achievement was his appearance in that. Do you remember that music video? What was it called? Golf Boys.
That was very funny, wasn't it? Yeah, I suppose he is an underachiever in many ways. Former world number 1 amateur. I always expect a lot from them. And former world number 4 golfer. He's had chances to win every major, isn't he? If you look at his majors record, he's come close in every major. So, fine margins in this game. Could have won the Grand Slam if those fine margins gone the other way. So, golf's a funny game, but Ricky Fowler, I'm encouraged by what I've seen lately. Really encouraged.
Marvellous. I'm sure we'll get a nice bright outfit from him at some point as well. Right, who is the other selection then?
Luke Clanton, who is making just his 3rd start as a professional golfer. He was thrown in at the deep end in the Canadian Open. He had a tee time with Rory McIlroy and Ludwig Aubert. Missed the cut in Canada. Last week was better. Finished 34th of 72 in the Travelers. I think we're going to get further improvement this week. He was making his course debut in Canada and the Travelers, but this week he knows the track. He competed in the Travelers last year, when still an amateur, of course. finished 10th. That was his first regulation PGA Tour event. Outscored everyone in the field in round 3. Shot 65 on the Saturday. So fell in love with the course. Nearly won the John Deere Classic the following week. He was second there. Then he was 5th in the Wyndham, another Donald Ross design. Second in the RSM Classic. So he's had loads of experience of contending for PGA Tour titles as an amateur. Now he's turned pro. I think success seems inevitable for him. He signed for TaylorMade a week or so ago. It was a no-brainer. TaylorMade. He's got TaylorMade irons and wedges in his bag already. He's going to have to switch to a TaylorMade driver at some stage soon, but he hasn't done that yet. He's still been using his Titleist driver in his last 2 tournaments. If he makes the switch this week, I'm actually quite comfortable with that idea, because driving is what's cost him in his last 2 events. His driving's been a bit wild in Canada and the Travelers, so he may choose to make the switch this week. And the rest of his game is in mint condition. So yeah, I'm not worried if he does put a new driver in the bag, because as I say, that's been the weakness in the last couple of starts.
Equipment watch, I like it as well.
Yeah, it's almost like it's. Absolutely, yeah. It's fascinating. It's almost like, psychologically, when he's contracted now to go to a full set of TaylorMades, and he's using the Titleist drive and everything else is TaylorMade. It's almost like you think, right, I need to be a bit wild with this one to justify it. He might have a little devil in his shoulder. Hook that one, slice that one. I don't know, but his driving has been a bit ropey in the last 2 tournaments. But the rest of his game's so good.
So no equipment deal before that.
No. Obviously, he's only just turned pro, and then he can sign contracts. As an amateur, he didn't have any deals. So, and Detroit Golf Club quite forgiving and off the tee anyway. So, his iron play's magnificent lately, and his putting's great. So, if he finds enough fairways, he's going to contend this week.
Well, I'm just thinking, I like the swagger. The big check swagger that a player might get from some kind of equipment deal like that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he'll have plenty of money in the bank already. He's a man of God, so he's not motivated by money. Luke Clanton's got a great future ahead of him. Don't you worry.
Maybe I'm doing it all wrong, Steve. Like the God Squad seems to be growing by the day on the golf tour. Is that what, by the grace of God, helps on the greens? What there's a big community on the tour.
Yeah, I think it helps you. Psychologically. Certain players look in full control of their emotions. Scotty Scheffler's a good example. And Luke Clanton's temperament seems pretty good as well. I mean, the favourite this week, Colin Morikawa, I'm very concerned about him between the ears. I think last week we saw some signs of complete
Maybe
lunacy.
he needs to turn to God. That's what he needs to do.
I think he probably does. Because last week he was making some bemusing decisions. I don't know whether you were following his antics. Just random use of the golf glove, Dave. Random use. Like he would hitting shots with the driver without a glove on, and then later on the same hole he would put the glove on for a wedge shot. He's just got into this strange routine of just when he fancies the glove, he puts it on. There's something strange going on with Colin Morikawa, and he's a very short price this week.
Well, let's run through the top of the betting then, because he's the market leader. Patrick Cantlay, Keegan Bradley, and Ben Griffin. You've touched on Morikawa. You've not gone with your man Cantlay this week.
No. I think both of them are too short in price. I prefer Cantlay to Morikawa, because Morikawa, of course, sacked his caddy not long ago. That seemed like a panic decision at the time, because he's on this long winless streak. And then when I saw all the antics with the glove last week, I just thought that's another sort of strange move that he seems in a state of panic for me, Colin Morikawa. So can't have the favourite. Cantlay, another one on a long winless streak. This course sets up well for him. So I prefer Cantlay, but I just want to go deeper in the board to get to my 2.
Right. Anything else to add? What about your thoughts on my 2?
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, the thoughts on your 2. Yeah. Obviously, I've got a lot of respect for Akshay Bhatia. He does putt well. You're absolutely right. Who was the other fella? Sorry.
Echeverria.
Oh, Echeverria. Well, yeah. As you say, another great putter. I just like this. The honest board is full of long drivers, and Echeverria, one of the shorter hitters. Maybe that's off-putting, but I mean, obviously, I've got a very small team. I'm glad you come up with a couple of names to boost our team to 4.
Well, listen, I've not got to anywhere near the amount of research that you have. I've just looked at the scores. and just thought this is going to be a putting contest. So I've just dived a little bit into the putting stats. There is, if you can find an attribute that you want to latch onto each week, there's a stat for everything now, Steve, isn't there?
You're absolutely right, Dave. I was up till 1 a.m. last night, which is probably why I'm sounding a bit sluggish here, because when you've got 4 golf tournaments to consider, yeah, you're right. It does require a lot of research.
Right, shall we move on then?
Yes, sir.
Right, the Golden Oldies, the US Senior Open here, Steve. A biggie.
Yes, yeah, back-to-back majors. Last week we had a major, the Kaulig Companies Championship, formerly the Senior Players Championship. Another major this week, the East Course, the Broadmoor, Colorado Springs, Colorado. 7,247 yards, par 70, only 2 par 5s. The 2008 US Senior Open was at the Broadmoor, won by Eduardo Romero. The 2018 US Senior Open was at the Broadmoor, won by David Toms. Romero and Toms used to churn out greens in regulation back in the day. I think that's the key to his success this week. Sunny, warm and calm throughout. We're at altitude, of course, so balls will fly further in the rarefied air. Control is the name of the game this week, Dave. And another field of 156 going to post. If you look at how many opponents we've got this week, Dave, you could get quite demoralised. We got 522 golfers going to post this week across 4 tournaments, and we're tipping 11 of them. So we've got about 2% of the total field.
What you might not know the answers, Steve. What kind of cheddar are they playing for in this event?
The cheddar's pretty reasonable on the Champions Tour. Yeah, your Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroys have got no interest in getting on the Champions Tour, and I've got more respect for them. I mean, how much cheddar do you need? If I get to 50 and I've got £1 million in the bank, then that's enough cheddar. I wouldn't be playing Seniors Tour, but I suppose if you've got a passion for golf, you just love playing golf, and you like, but you could just play in a tournament just for fun, couldn't you, with your mates? At your members club. Yeah, I'm surprised how many players do get attracted to the Seniors Tour. But the cheddar helps. Maybe they wouldn't do it for free.
Right, market. Stuart Sink is the jolly. Stephen Olker. Jimenez is up there, and Steve Stricker. Some proper golden oldies in this field as well. We know you've got 2 selections for it. Who's the main pick?
Yes, sir. Main pick is Stuart Sink, who now has senior major form figures of 3-7-3, 9-12, 4-3, knocking loudly on the door. He's going to become a senior major champion. We all know it. I think it happens on Sunday. This is a 52-year-old. He had a tough decision to leave the PGA Tour behind because he was still very competitive with the young bucks. He won the Safeway Open in 2020. He won the RBC Heritage by 4 shots in 2021. So it was tough for him to leave the PGA Tour behind, but he's fully committed to the seniors circuit now, playing a full schedule. He's a threat whenever he tees up. He's already won 2 regulation Champions Tour events. The latest of those came last month. He's got all-round solidity, so that, in a US Open, makes him the man to beat. It's going to be tough this week. It's going to be about churning out greens in regulation. Sink's better equipped for the task than anyone. He had 7 top 20s in the proper US Open as a younger man. He won the Open Championship, of course, in 2009. He was 4th in the USPGA as recently as 2018. And this week he makes his US Senior Open debut, 3rd for us in the Kaulig Companies on Sunday. I'm expecting even better at Broadmoor. I've got icing to put on this cake, Dave. Icing going on the cake. Stuart Sink proven at altitude. We're at altitude this week. Tricky club selection. But Sink won the 1996 Colorado Classic on the Nike Tour, which is now the Corn Ferry Tour. It was the Nike Tour back then. So he's won a title at altitude in Colorado, where we are this week. He was 5th in the 2006 International, which was also staged in Colorado, a PGA Tour event. So, this will be a hat-trick of Colorado triumphs for Stuart Sink on Sunday.
Where on earth have you dug that one out from?
Well, as I say, I had a very late night. Very late night last night. But, I think Stuart Sink is the strongest golf bet of the week,
Altitude. Is there a place that can tell me the altitude of every golf course?
There probably is. I mean, Colorado is renowned for being right up there. What we're talking, 7,000 feet or whatever. But I remember previewing the International back in the day. I think that 2006 International was the last one. It's a Stableford scoring system. Now, I've seen it all before now, Dave. I remember Stuart Sink can handle altitude. So that's just icing on this beautiful cake.
Marvellous. Oh, well, listen, altitudes. I remember people going through a phase of, I think it was Bolivia, just back in Bolivia in their home fixtures in a lot of the international games because
Yeah,
it was extreme altitude. I think it was Bolivia,
that's
but
it.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
factor. Of
think you're
course,
right.
it
Yeah.
is in golf. It is a factor. Right, who's the next best then?
Soren Kjelsen, who looks like he's going to be a dangerous Champions Tour customer. He's a newcomer. He turned 50 last month. They let him get his Champions Tour card at Q School when he was 49. So he come through the Q School. He played some Nordic Golf League events to warm up for the start of his Champions Tour career. He won one of those Nordic Golf League events in March. So showed the younger bucks that he's still got plenty of ability. 2016 is not a long time ago, relatively speaking. In that year, Kjelsen finished 7th in the Masters and 9th in the Open at Royal Troon. This is a 4-time DP World Tour champion, always been supremely accurate. That I think on the Champions Tour he's going to do plenty of damage. The early signs really positive. He was 8th in the Senior PGA on his Champions Tour debut, a playoff loser in his first regulation event. His old pal Miguel Angel Jimenez beat him in a playoff there. Then Kjelsen was 2nd in the Champions Tour pairs event. They got this new pairs event. It's all very jolly. Kjelsen played with Alex Chaker, and they finished 2nd. And then last week, Kjelsen was 12th in the Kaulig company. So he settled quickly on the round belly circuit. He's certainly not a round belly. He's one of the fittest players out there, I'd suggest. And this week's test of accuracy, perfect for him. I think he's well up for it. I think he's going to make his 2 sons proud. He's got 2 grown-up sons, Dave. I think the youngest one is 19 now. So the toughest years of fatherhood are behind him. He can concentrate on his Champions Tour career and bank plenty at dollar.
Love that. And it got to be the youngest man in the field, right? I was going to ask you, are we still at 50 and above?
Yeah, we do keep an eye on these newcomers. I noticed
Yes.
Stephen Gallagher is playing this week. Stephen Gallagher, not long ago, winning DP World Tour titles.
Yeah.
He's going to have a little bash at this as well now. So yeah, you have to keep an eye on the newcomers, and Kjelsen is one of the most dangerous ones.
Yeah, I'm just checking. He's respected in the market, and rightly so as well. Love that. Anyone else on the radar for that one?
No. We're very happy with our 2 there, and we got another 2 to come to complete our portfolio.
Right, we are with the livers then. Where are the livers off to this week, Steve?
This is Maridoe Golf Club, Carrollton, Texas, near Dallas. 7,533 yards, par 72, 4 par 5s. So a long track is shaped around a 25-acre lake. Firm, fast fairways, runoff areas around the greens. This is a tough golf course, one of the most difficult tracks on the LIV circuit, I'd say. We've seen it only once before on the LIV circuit, the LIV Team Championship, which was in September last year. The Rippers won that, you might remember. We got sunny, calm, and extremely hot weather, Dave. You'd need your cap on at Maridoe this week. A real feel of 42C at times. So a very sweaty event this week. A field of 54 going to post. No cut. Place your bets by 5:05 p.m. UK time on Friday. ITVX and Live Golf Plus app if you want to watch it live.
Right, talking about runoff areas, are we looking at maybe scrambling as a big thing here?
You need the complete package, Dave. There's no hiding place at Maridoe. You need top-class ball striking. You need top-class short game. This is no picnic. It comes quite soon after the US Open, and it'll have a US Open feel to it, this one.
Okay, well, give us a prediction of what the winning score is going to be then.
Oh, blimey. 54 holes. In Live Miami the other day when they had really tough conditions, I think 4 under one at Live Miami. I think we'll be looking at 5 or 6 under.
Right, the market. Beefy Bryson, John Rahm, the Wind Machine Neiman, and Tyrrell Hatton. We've got 2 for it. Who's the main pick?
The main pick is Patrick Reed, a Texan through and through. This is a home game. This is a man desperate for a first individual title on the LIV circuit. The 2018 Masters champion, still able to contend in majors. He was 3rd at Augusta in April. The TV cameras hardly showed him, but he finished 3rd in the Masters. He was 23rd in the US Open earlier this month, got an albatross you might have spotted. He won on the Asian Tour at the end of November. Just a relentless competitor, turns 35 in August. Probably getting a sniff of the Ryder Cup. He'll have Ryder Cup aspirations. Will Keegan Bradley unleash Captain America again? He's playing well enough to be considered, certainly. He can showcase his short game class, always been magnificent on and around the greens. The Marido runoff areas will hold no fears for him. Firm, fast conditions help him. Obviously one of the shortest hitters on the circuit. And he excelled at Marido in last year's LIV Team Championship. Reed had a 100% record in the match play element of that event, playing for the 4 aces. Then he was 3 under par in the Sunday stroke play. Really good score on a tough golf course. So the 4 aces finished second in the LIV Team Championship. He loves this track, does Reed. I love his chances.
Captain America then gets the nod. Who's the next best?
Sergio Garcia, another Ryder Cup legend. Got 2 Ryder Cup legends on my team here. Garcia, desperate to make a case for a place on Luke Donald's European side. He's playing on the DP World Tour next week, Dave. Did you know that? In the BMW International in Germany. So Garcia is trying to get European Ryder Cup points. He wants to get on the team. But firstly, this week, absolutely crucial for his hopes, because the leading player in the LIV standings after LIV Dallas, who is not already exempt for the Open, will get a place in the Open at Portrush next month. Right. That person currently, as things stand, is Sergio Garcia. You got Joachim Neiman, Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm ahead of him, but they're all qualified for the Open. So if Garcia can repel all of those behind him in that list this week, he'll get an Open return. He's missed the Open for a few years.
He'll know that as well, won't he? All day long, he'll know that. Yeah,
absolutely. And he hasn't played for a while. He didn't get in the US Open, so he's had time to prepare for this. I think Garcia will get himself spot on for this. His plan. He's a cocksure lad, and his plan will be to win LIV Dallas, win the Open, get on the Ryder Cup team. He'll think that's achievable. I certainly think the first one is achievable. He lives in Texas, Dave. He's married to a Texan. His maiden PGA Tour title came in Texas. He's won 3 PGA Tour titles in Texas. He loves firm, fast conditions. Like Reed, he had a 100% record in the match play element of LIV Team Championship in September. Garcia's teammates let him down a bit. They didn't get through to the final day stroke play, the fireballs. But this assignment suits Garcia. And there was a fine around 64 that you might not have noticed in LIV Virginia. First 2 days he was struggling to LIV Virginia, but closed with a 64. Now he's had this little rest. I think he comes back for a really important stretch of golf. It could be a career-defining stretch. This, if he gets back on the Ryder Cup team and is a hero for Europe at Bethpage. Can you imagine him going back to Bethpage with a New York crowd where they used to hammer him for his regrips when he was struggling with his regrips? Do you remember that? It'd be fascinating to see him thrown into that bear pit. The level of hate towards him would be extreme. Be like watching an episode of Star Wars. I've been watching a lot of Star Wars later. A lot of hate in Star Wars, isn't there?
There is. Would you just quickly, if Steve Palmer is captain of the European team and you could pick anyone, would you have him on the team?
No. I'm just talking for the spectacle. I don't think it'd be good for team morale. Robert McIntyre had a bit of a spat once, didn't they, when Garcia left for LIV, and Garcia burnt so many bridges when he left for LIV. Yeah. He was horrible to the PGA Tour. He was horrible to the DP World Tour. He basically just had a flamethrower at the bridges behind him, and reconstructing those bridges is so difficult. I think he has to win LIV Dallas, has to win the Open to be even considered, and even then, like Luke Donald might just say, No, you're all right, mate. You burnt too many bridges. But I'd like to see it just for the spectacle.
Just so he could take his shoes off and throw him at the bunker again or something like that,
Well, you put his temper up against Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley and Sergio Garcia up against each other with a New York crowd around it. It could be absolute mayhem. It reminded me on Sunday. Do you remember when Miguel Angel Jimenez and Keegan Bradley had a bust up at a match play? I think it was a match play. It got quite nasty, didn't it? They both won.
Basically squared up, didn't they?
They squared up. They both won on Sunday. So yeah, Keegan Bradley's got a history of squaring up to Spaniards.
I don't think Jimenez is going to make the Ryder Cup team, though, mate. I don't. It's a bit of a reach. He's in
Well,
good form, but it's a bit of a reach.
that would be hilarious if Luke Donald picked Miguel Angel Jimenez instead of Sergio Garcia just for
He
team
can lead the
morale.
warm up, can't he?
He could. Yeah, you could leave him out to the singles. Yeah, I'm going to campaign for that. Good point, Dave. We need the experience of Miguel Angel Jimenez. You need experience at Bethpage. It's going to be a tough environment. Yeah, Miguel for the Ryder Cup team. Campaign
Right. That's the team then, right? Two's all the way. Anything else to add for the livers?
No, I think that is the team. I mean, again, the Italian Open was tough to get down to 5. The Liv was tough to get down to 2 because obviously Bryson DeChambeau is a Dallas man. He lives in Dallas. Bryson DeChambeau is obviously tempting. Carlos Ortiz lives in Dallas. Carlos Ortiz contended for the US Open. He won the Houston Open on the PGA Tour in 2020, I believe. So Carlos Ortiz hugely tempting, but you can't back them all, Dave. You have to be. You can't expect too much of the working man during a 4 tournament week. So 11 tips is enough. And but yeah, if you wanted more in your live team, then Carlos Ortiz.
Yeah, so what, 5, a 2, a 2 and a 2. So 10, 20, 40 line bets there. Each way lines.
40 line
Stranger
bets,
things
yeah.
have happened. Right, before we get the roundup, it will be the Rocket Classic, in which our friends at SBK boost winnings 25% there. So fire your bullets. If you're only going to fire your bullets at one tournament, maybe that's the one to go for with our sponsors, SBK. Jump onto their website, betsbk.com, to get all the info there, but 25% boost on winnings. Right, let's do the tip and roundup then, shall we, Steve? Not to upset anyone out there in internet land. I will name them, and you can reel off the team. We'll go chronological order. Number 1, the Italian Open.
John Parry, Martin Couvra, Oliver Lindell, Jack Senior, and Rafa Cabrera Bello.
Okay, right. The Rocket Classic.
Ricky Fowler and Luke Clanton.
And Akshay Bhatia and Nico Echeverria. We live in hope. We live in hope. And the Golden Oldies.
Stuart Sink and Soren Kjelsen.
And then Live Golf this week in Dallas.
Patrick Reed and Sergio Garcia.
Marvellous stuff. Steve, it's surely going to be impossible for you to watch every tournament wall to wall this week.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging. I mean, I turned 47 on Thursday, so I'm going to need a few tinctures to deal with the fact that I'm another
What's the
year
plan?
older.
You threw a party for the dogs, so surely you're having a party yourself.
The dog's more important than me, Dave. Come on. No, I will have a few tinctures on Wednesday night to deal with the disappointment of another year passing, and then a few tinctures at the weekend. But I will try and keep an eye on all 4 tournaments. But as you say, quite challenging. But I got a good feeling about this week, Dave. I got a good feeling about this.
Good. We like the good vibes.
Well, yeah, the each way acca on all 4. I mean, blimey. John Parry, Ricky Fowler, Stuart Sink, Patrick Reed. The each way acca, get as many places as you can. That is a potential face spinner.
Listen, you can have pennies on those the line bets each way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Listen, I can't. What is it? FOMO, the fear of missing out. I'm going to have just a little something in with you there. Maybe I'll just chuck in my players and we'll just hope for the best and see what happens. But a lot to get through. We will be back next week. I've got John Deere Classic and the BMW International next week. Is that right?
Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah. Sergio Garcia playing in Germany, seeking Ryder Cup points, fresh from winning LIV Dallas.
Okay. Well, yeah, they're 2. The John Deere's not anywhere near a signature event, but 2 biggies anyway. 2 regular fixtures on the tours. Steve, it's been a pleasure as ever. I do try and squeeze in a bit of time for yourself this week, mate, given that it is your birthday. 47, did you say?
47, yeah. 47. Feel like 107. Feel like Yoda. Watching so much Star Wars lately because my son just absolutely loves it. And and why not? Why not? Who's your favourite Star Wars character? Sorry, I know you're wrapping up, but I'm curious. We can chat afterwards. Who's your favourite Star Wars character?
Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, Jabba. Oh, you like that? You like the big boy, do you? Yeah.
Big boy.
I like the Emperor. What a character the Emperor is. And now, young Skywalker, you will die.
Next
That
week
is,
you've got to come on with the hood on and everything. Yeah, give me some of that.
okay, no, fair enough. Yeah, headwear's the new thing. Right, Miguel Angel Jimenez for the Ryder Cup team. Let's go and start the campaign. I must get my, I'll open all my social media accounts to start that campaign.
Yes, bring it on. Right, so you out there, do get involved as well. Do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know who you're backing this week. Are you getting on board the ACCA? 4 tournaments to get stuck into. Enjoy it, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next week.